Hey folks, Scott Grove here of GroovyMusicLessons.com. Right now I'm going to be doing a little nothing more than storytelling. So there's no playing going on here. This here is not the review of the Ace Frehley 300 Les Paul. That will come tomorrow. It's just late and don't want to wake the wife up by actually plugging it in. Plus I don't want to plug it in because it just does not sound good. Is that true? Yeah, that's actually true. But I expected nonetheless. It is a Les Paul, for God's sake. And some people are, oh no, I'm shutting this shit off now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tell you everything there is to know about this guitar. For people who are Ace Frehley fans, or just Les Paul fans, or KISS fans, or have dreamed of owning this particular guitar. Again, this was the very first Les Pauls put out by Gibson that were actually Ace Frehley models, other than the original 13 that they made for him exclusively, which was part of this, but that they gave Ace 13 guitars, and then they made 300 more at the custom shop. And then they put out a line that would last for several years of just the Ace Frehley Gibson Les Pauls, but not the custom shop ones. Okay, and there are big things to know about these. Okay, Gibson screwed up royally. DiMarzio screwed up royally. At least more than 2/3 of the guitars don't have the pickups in them they were supposed to. They were all supposed to have, DiMarzio super distortion pickups in them. Do they? Most of them, no. So Gibson dropped the ball and sent them out and never told anybody any different. And DiMarzio screwed up and sent the wrong pickups. And there's a lot to learn here today. Most of it I'm getting from the best story there is to be had online. You can do it too, because I'm actually going to sit here and read you a story, as boring as it may sound. But if you actually go to acefrehleylespaul.com and just read Story of the 300. That's the 300 guitars from the custom shop that they made in 1997. That's the story I will be reading you today. Okay? And of course, I have to do this real quick just because I'm me. For all those out here who are out there, mostly in forums, that's, of course, where I get you guys from when I Google my name, just to see how things are going, to see if I'm stirring up enough shit to cause people to talk about me. And I do it on purpose. Hey, and hopefully today I won't look as fat. I finally learned how to turn off the widescreen, which makes me look like this. I've been running it for a couple years on widescreen, and everybody, you fat son of a bitch. It's like, I don't know if half of you want to fuck me or suck me or what, but I'm here to teach lessons. I just don't swing that way. And other people are like, well, Scott's okay, except for he talks too fucking much. Well, that's how you learn stuff, number one. Somebody has to teach you. And if you don't like the cussing, you got it. Fuck you. So turn off your shit. Because that's the way I talk. It's the way I was brought up. It's the way my mama talked. It's the way my daddy talked. So, and believe it or not, that's the way most musicians talked back in the 70s and 80s when I was gigging. So, yeah, not a lot of holy rollers out there on the road. So anyway, here is my perfect, never before played 1997 Ace Frehley custom shop Les Paul. Okay, like I said, I'll do a full review of this tomorrow, and of course you will see this is the actual pearl inlays and stuff. You won't find this on the Japanese garbage crap that everybody keeps bringing over and so forth. And this one is number 230 out of, I don't know, I've got my camera at such a weird angle, but, and they'll always say Ace, it's stamped in there, Ace 230. Okay, so there is a registry for these, and they're keeping track of where they're all at. Are there 300 of them out there? No. Did they make 300? Yes. Where are the others? They have been burnt. Huh? Yeah, it's all in the story, and the story is 100% accurate. The ones that have been burnt were the ones that Gibson screwed up more on than these, if you can believe it. Gibson screws up. The quality control of Gibson is and always has been just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. You're like, well, why in the hell would you even go ahead and, spend $7,000-8,000 for that guitar if you hate it so much? It's because it's going to retain its value and my wife gets to cash it in when I die. Okay, plus it looks great on the wall. I have lots of guitars that I like to hang on the wall and look great, which I'll never play. Tomorrow, after I do the review, I will never play this guitar again. Why? Because I hate it. It looks great, but I hate these stupid things. Okay, number one, before I get to reading the story, of course we all know, of course Ace has out the retarded Budokan Les Paul right now, which is actually closer, of course, to what he played. This is nothing like what he played, back in the KISS days, the Norland years guitars, the pancake bodies. If you don't know what that is, look it up. That's what Google's for. This, on his actual guitar, of course, only the one DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup here worked. This one was just there to look pretty. This one was not even a pickup. That was always a sticker, changed every night, because this here's where the smoke came out of. So they had a sticker that looked like a cream humbucker. But as soon as he would flick the switch, then that would fly off, and then the lights and the smoke would come out, and that would just, of course, as you remember, just make his guitar go out of tune that quick, because the heat coming out of there and hitting these strings just fried everything. And then he was going through the echoplex and all kinds of just nothing but noises. Then the guitar would go up in the air, then he'd get the rocket launcher guitar and shoot at it and all that stuff. But anyway, so this guitar is nothing like his, but the new Budokan one that is beat to shit that you'll pay $11,000 to $12,000 for, with all the paint missing and dragged down the road and drug behind a truck, is more like the real deal. But why would you pay the money for it? I never would in a million years. Why did I spend, between $7,000 and $8,000 for this? Like I said, to put it on the wall and to let my wife pay the house, for a couple, for a year. Okay, so anyway, oddly enough, and they never tell you what the toggle switch does. I never knew until I got it here. And I'm actually glad, not that I'm going to use it, but when it's down, like normal, yes, it's the bridge pickup like a Les Paul. When it's up, it's the neck pickup, which of course Ace never used. It's a signature model, so why even have it hooked up? I don't know. But like I said, the Budokan does not have these two hooked up, just like Ace's. But I think if they did the Budokan one and it wanted to be just like Ace's, the folks that made his smoking guitar are still making the smoking things, and they're on sale on eBay. They should have put in the goddamn smoking unit for that much money. You should all have the smoking unit, and you can get the refills anytime, do it. They should have done it right, and they still didn't. But anyway, yes. Okay, so you're at your neck pickup, but when you put it in the middle, and this was a pleasing thing for me, because I love this sound. What do you get? You get the middle pickup and the bridge at the same time. You get both on. And nowhere in any of the ads or schematics, or nowhere does it say that's what it does. And I was hoping that's what it did, because it sounds, that's the only position where this guitar sounds really great, or the neck pickup. But that treble pickup, boy, yeah. But then again, it's set up stock, and as you can tell by that neck pickup, Gibson really needs to put two screws on one side or another of their pickups so you can actually angle them. But that does no good to have really close to the neck way up there, and the other part sunk way down into the body. I mean, it's just horrible. And then the middle one's way up there. It's still set up from the factory. But that bridge pickup is just so tinny and no balls. Just bright as all hell sounding. And too bad. Gibson quality control and DiMarzio. And DiMarzio does have... Wait till I show you these pickups. They're going to freak you out. Couple of these pickups in upside down. Okay? So, let's just go ahead and go with the reading, and then I'll just tell you a couple more things, just for fun. For my fun. As soon as you quit having fun, of course, change the channel anytime you want. Of course, let's get on here and show you the rest of the acts. Of course, everything here is done in sterling silver. Ace's original 13 guitars that they made for him, all the lightning bolts, the Ace Frehley thing, they were also done in sterling silver. They've all been sold because Ace is just no good with money, and he thinks he should be able to get away with things. He thinks he should be handed money for doing no work. Ace is a total slob. Those 13 guitars have been sitting down in his flipping basement, covered up by dirty laundry for years. He couldn't even find the damn things, and they've been sold off just because he needed money for, you know, something to drink or something to smoke or whatever. Yes, truth. It's all on the internet. Just read it. It's just very well known. So he needed more guitars to go out and do some gigs, so he ran the Budicons, and they gave him more free guitars. But yeah, they had the, you know, guitars up for sale. They know where they're all at, but Ace don't have them. He just sold them all. The cases are moldy. It's horrible. The guy is a has-been loser, and it's too bad. It really is. Just really quickly, people are always, well, Scott, do you like Ace or do you like... Ace is what got me to playing guitar. Ace is influential. Ace is not good. Okay? Ace has not progressed as a player since the first album. And he's like me in a way, in that all he does is pentatonic stuff all the time, and he has never progressed past that. He's just, you know... You know, and I don't even have a pick. Here's one. And he relied on nothing but Chuck Berry licks and the old... And since none of the other pickups worked, he would just go, you know, all the time, and then just walk around spaced out of his head, and that was Ace. But he was a member of the wildest, most outlandish band in the world, so he was influential. Just not a great player. And he never has been. Never has become one. So people say, who do you like better? It's like anybody other than Ace. I think every guitar player since Ace has, of course, been a better guitar player than Ace. Every drummer since Peter has been a better drummer. Sure, everybody likes the original band. That's what got me to playing music, period. I still chose country music, but I am just still a KISS fan. I know that none of the original four are particularly any good at anything other than Gene making money. Now Paul's getting ready, he's following suit by selling his guitars that he breaks on stage. He pre-sells them now like Gene does with his guitars that he gets, you know, basses that he signs, and you pay 10 grand for a meet and greet now. It used to be 5 grand, now it's 10 grand. And now Paul's doing his guitars the same way. He used to break them and hand them to the audience. Now he has them film. He signs the guitar the way you want it. You pay for the meet and greet with Paul now, because he sees how much money Gene's making. You know, the whore that Gene is. Paul's going to do the same thing because his paintings don't sell. Have you seen them? Ooh. But now Paul's doing the same thing with the cheap guitars, you know, because he breaks the cheap ones and plays the Washburns. But yeah, he'll sign it, and then they take video of it. He holds it in front of the video camera, blah blah blah, and you get a copy of the video, and then he smashes the guitar, taunts the audience with it. You don't get to, even though you stood in line for 32 days straight to get front row tickets, you don't get a chance at getting the neck or the body of Paul's guitars anymore because they're pre-sold before he breaks them. And then he takes them, shows them to the camera, shows them to you guys, and then takes them backstage and hands them to whoever gave him the $5,000. Boo. It's the KISS experience. They might as well just pull the plug. They really should. But yeah, for all you diehard KISS fans, nobody's as diehard as I am, but I realize what is what. It's like, yeah. Eric Singer, Eric Carr, both buried Peter Criss as a drummer, but Peter was an original member. I understand that. We all fell in love with the original band, and then as far as Ace goes, Vinnie Vincent smoked him. Mark St. John, Kulick was in the band for the longest, great player. Now you've got Tommy Thayer playing Ace's parts, which is fine. The guy's getting a paycheck. He shows up for a job. Eric Singer now knows that he has to be the Peter. So they're both just punching the clock. They know what they are. They're just hired hands. So it is what it is. But yes, they have all been progressively much better musicians. Okay, so we're here to learn about the Ace guitar. Again, I'm going to sit here and just simply read this straight to you and throw in a couple things. Okay, so if you're not ready for a bedtime story, then shut this shit off right now. Because you can go right there and read it your own damn self. Okay, here we go. In late 1996, Gibson and Ace Frehley first got together to discuss the making of his signature line of guitars. According to Phil Jones, former master luthier at Gibson's custom shop and later Gruhn's Guitars, both in Nashville. The process began with the production of 2 handmade prototypes, initially based on the Les Paul Standard. Okay, it's not the custom. This design was soon moved onto the Les Paul custom platform. Well, of course, that's what Ace was playing. So why it started off as a standard, who knows? Because his first one, the 74, was a deluxe. And he just pulled it apart and put DiMarzio Super Distortions in again. And off he went. When he first went in the studio, back in 73 and 74, the guitars you're hearing are not Les Paul's, kids. Look at the original pictures, and he was playing Ovation Breadwinner. Okay, yep, white Ovation Breadwinner. You've seen him, hopefully, in the studio, Ovation Breadwinner. And his other backup guitar was a Epiphone Coronet. Solid body with a 1P90 in it. Okay, so anyway, no Les Pauls on the first album and a half. In case you wanted to know. So everybody fell in love with that song, with those tones. You fell in love with the Ovation Breadwinner. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, so they decided to change it to the Les Paul custom platform to more closely replicate Ace's original. Well, if it's going to be a copy of Ace's guitar, you better copy the right fucking guitar. Okay, so the Les Paul custom. For greater detail, check out the prototypes. So go on this page and check out the prototypes. Okay, excluding the 2 Les Paul standard prototypes, the distribution portion of Ace's contract with Gibson provided for 1 group of privately and 3 groups of publicly distributed versions of this guitar. Okay, here's where it gets fun. The privately distributed was the 13 guitars, all going to Ace to do with as he saw fit. Okay, so he had kept them for a while, then sold them when he needed shit. Because he was living like in a trailer damn near. Yeah, you can see all the pictures. They're online, and videos and so forth, and him sitting at card tables and discussing deals and begging for money for doing nothing. He's just like, "Well, give me some money, man. I need some money. I'm broke." It's like, well, go do something for it, Ace. Get off your ass. Okay, man, you reap what you sow. Okay, so he got those 13 axes, and they've all been sold. He don't have any. I'll go say the first Ace Frehley models produced for the retail sector would be a limited high-end run from Gibson Custom and Historic Shop for the purpose of this site, I refer to these as the 300, which of course there was 300 made, which was the extent of the custom shop run, 300 guitars. The 300 were made available to music retailers at the 1997 Winter NAMM show. The regular production run Les Paul Customs from the USA Custom Shop, or I'm sorry, from the Gibson USA shop, not Custom Shop, would follow later that year, and were actually built between August of 97 all the way through January of 2001. So that's where you could get just the regular Ace Frehley Les Pauls that actually have the right pickups in them. Okay, these don't. And I'll show you the whole what they're supposed to have in them, and they don't. So the ones that you get for cheaper have the right stuff in them and are a lot more like Ace's guitar than these are. Okay, so the cheaper ones are the better deal. These are just worth more because there's less of them. Okay, and so everybody wants this because it is what it is. Okay, it's just Gibson and their shitty ways. I honestly do wish Gibson would go out of business. They have no business being in business, but they won't go out of business because people are just bam. Okay, so pick up where we left off. Hey, come back on. Okay, so they were built through 2001, and nobody knows how many is built. Gibson did not even keep track of how many of those were made. Okay, and then they made this series of Epiphones overseas with different finishes, including 2 that would be exclusive to the Epiphone line. So you would end up with, blues and what have you, and different sparkle version, Epiphone stuff. And then of course you can, for $297, go get those cheap Chinese knockoffs that are finally getting busted there in Chicago coming into the country. I can't wait till everybody gets busted for all of them. But that's a whole different video. I've done one of those videos, but if you're making fake guitars, you should go to jail. If you're buying them, you should go to jail. If you're selling them, you should go to jail. Just a thought. Okay, and here it says, note, all of Gibson's production shops have guitars that never make it to the end of the production line for one reason or another. Finish flaws. Yeah, Gibson has the worst finishes around. If they don't rub off on you, they don't do good finishes. You look at any finish, it's all like this. No other company in the world does that. Gibson does it, and they get away with it. People bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch, and they don't take care of it. They just suck. Period. A discoloration on the fretboard, a snapped headstock. Gibson has more snapped headstocks in the world because it's a shitty, shitty, shitty design. No, they'd say, oh, it has to have a certain break angle at the nut. No. Steinberger's, 0 break angle. Fenders, no break angle. You don't see that. And Steinberger's and Fenders, all mine have always had way more sustain than any Les Paul I've owned, which I've had probably 400 Les Pauls in my life. I've had close to about 1,000 Gibsons over the years, and I've had a couple thousand guitars over my lifetime, and worked on many, many, many when I worked in a music store. And just Les Pauls, Gibsons period, are the king of breaking headstocks, but of course the Les Paul is notorious for it. So, okay, back on here. Like I said, I'm not reading this word for word. I am reading it word for word, but I'm interjecting my own shit because no, I don't like to hear my own voice. People keep saying, I think he just loves to hear himself talk. I really don't. I don't speak well. After a couple strokes, you end up with lisps and impediments, and I know I talk like Elvis and outside of my... It's not my thing to hear myself talk. It's... People judge a lot, especially on YouTube. Okay. Okay, where were we at? Okay, so when they're building the shit, okay, yeah, broken headstocks. Some of them are never completed and end up in the discard pile, even though they may have already have a serial number stamped on the back of the headstock. As I learned As I learned visiting Gibson's Nashville factories in 2007, a discarded guitar with a serial number already on it will not cause the serial number sequence to be reset, nor will they build a replacement guitar and restamp it for each one of them that is discarded. So this means that even though we're talking about 300 of Ace's signature guitars being built in the custom shop, all 300 of them may not have passed quality control, like that works, and made it to the shipping desk. So even though 300 were built, 300 were not released to the public. So there is a place where you can register your guitar, and they're keeping track of what number you have and what pickups are in it. And they're trying to locate all of them. Mine hasn't been registered yet. I'll register it just so they can keep track. And, you know, it's nice to do such things. And, you know, they're trying to prove something here and document them. So anybody that has it, please register it. So here's where it gets funny. So 300 were made, but they don't all get put out because some are just so bad that even Gibson won't put them out there. Okay? So Gibson couldn't tell me the exact numbers for the Ace Frehley run, but they did acknowledge that roughly 5 to 7% of guitars are discarded every single day in every run they produced. So the math says that approximately 15 to 21 of the 300 Ace Frehley guitars never saw the halogen lamps of your local guitar shop's display wall. So there's probably 15 to 20 of them. So probably about 285. Check that out. 280, 285 of them that actually made it. Okay, other ones just never made it because they were broken or worse than others. Okay, so and here's the cool thing that happens. I love this, and I didn't know this, and it's an interesting fact. From the discard pile, guitar bodies go to the wood chipper, and the chips are then sold to the Jack Daniel's distillery to become the charcoal that they filter their whiskey through. Yes, this is 100% true. I'm not saying yes, this is 100% true. The article says yes, this is 100% true. So Gibson chops up all their guitar bodies and sells them to Jack Daniel's. Some of you may have known that. I found it interesting, and I didn't know that all these years. Okay, let's go on down the line. By the winter of '97, the KISS reunion tour was reaching Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. Ace was interviewed for Guitar World magazine from his hotel room in Sydney, Australia. During the first week of February '97, the article was published. In May of '97, in the May of '97 issue, and this was the first time Ace spoke about his new Signature Series guitars. And in quotation marks it says, "Have you seen my new Gibson model? They debuted it at the Winter NAMM show and it sold out in an hour." So they sold all 300 of them, but again, there's 15, 20 people out there that never got theirs because they're at Jack Daniel's now. And okay, so in reality, the guitars were actually sold before they were built. The Winter NAMM show takes place every year in mid-January in Anaheim, California, just down the street, 5 hours from here. Based on the pre-pack and final pack checklist included with the guitars, the 300 were actually built between early March and late June of 1997, thus selling out before they were built. Below is what Gibson offered on their press release feature sheet. See, that's my impediment about the guitar. But don't always believe everything you read. Okay, here comes the specs. Here come the specs. And I open up the thing that comes with it. Here is, and it's on both sides, so depending on which side music stores want to hang up. Here's the one you can go buy at the store for the regular guitar for half this price.
or for the one I have here, which is the custom shop one on the other side. Okay, here's the specs over here. Okay, number one, here's the main thing you need to read. Pickups, every single position, DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup in all three positions. And that's the DiMarzio 100 models. Then there are what are called DiMarzio Dual Sounds, which are the 101 models. They look just like Super Distortions with the 12 Allen screws in them. And then there are what are in this guitar, the 103s with the screws, and then these other things. These are PAF pickups. Okay. Okay, so know that. These are 3 PAF pickups. Nope, not a single Super Distortion in here. So you got lied to by Gibson, and you got fucked by DiMarzio. Okay, so, and the rest of that story in a moment. Okay, so here we go. Continuing on, half hour into it. So, by original manufacturer's suggested retail price, $6,400. So these have gone up just a little bit. They came out right during the crash when everything went to shit. So the market is up just a little on these guitars. AAA flame maple top, blah, 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 custom cherry sunburst finish, everything you know about. Ebony fingerboard, lightning bolt inlays, 12th fret, Ace Frehley, pearl inlays, the serial number inked on as Ace 001 through Ace 300. Of course, they made them, but some got chipped up. Grover tuners with pearloid buttons, check. The Gibson ABR1 bridge, piece of shit, but it's there. Sterling silver engraved truss rod cover, switch plate, and back cover, check. Pick guards were sold with the guitars, but were not installed. Okay, one thing, Ace always had, when he played these guitars live, he always had a pick guard on that sumbitch. Never was he caught dead in his life playing one without a pick guard. Here in the case, you know, you get your Ace Frehley leather strap with the lightning bolt. You get all your crap and your keys and stuff, but you get the pick guard, which I wish they would have put on here. I hate Les Pauls without pick guards. I hate pick guards, but this is what Ace's guitar looked like. You know, that was the look of the Ace Frehley's guitar. So it should have been that way. Okay, notice how this is cream and the pickups are white? That's because DiMarzio's Super Distortion pickups and the DiMarzio dual coils that look just like the Super Distortions are also cream colored. The PAF pickups are white. So I have white pickups in here and a cream pick guard. Okay, so they did not ever put the holes here for the pick guard, which would have been right there, and then over here. So if you see any with the pick guard installed, that means somebody went ahead and put the screws to it. Okay, so if they wanted to make it look like Ace's guitar, the pick guard would have been there. It's there for you to do if you want to, but then again, that takes it away from being an original. So as soon as you put the pick guard on, you have, honestly, taken the guitar's value down about 20% as soon as you do that. Even if you like it better, that's putting holes in your guitar and it's no longer original. These guitars aren't really meant to be played, they're meant to be collected. Okay, so you get rest of it, your hard shell case with the Ace Frehley fake crap. You don't get anything that's signed, nothing from Ace that's signed, no autographs. A screen print of Ace's signature on the outside of the case, it's on there, you know, just a silk screen of his signature, but it's not his signature. Red interior with no silk flap. There's not even a flap inside there like most cases to cover them up. There's typically found inside custom shop cases or any of them. And then you're supposed to have your DiMarzio Super Distortion pickups in cream. Double cream Super Distortion pickups. Model DP100s. However, very early on,
11 story time. Something wasn't happening as it was supposed to. When it came to the pickups being installed in the 300 guitars, what first got me on this point was when a friend of mine, Dave Verlick, noticed that Ace 139, and serial number 139, had different pickups than his guitar at the time, Ace 004. So he had two different Ace models and they had different pickups in them. So I visually checked the pictures of the guitars that I had in my gallery and discovered that most of them don't have the Allen screw pole pieces typically associated with DiMarzio Super Distortions and the dual sound pickups. They have the flathead screw pole pieces usually found in the DiMarzio PAF 103 pickups. I began asking some of the owners exactly which pickups were in their guitars. Guess what? Many of the owners found that they had the DP 103s, the ones I just showed you, the PAF pickups with the flathead pull pieces, and not the advertised DP 100 Super Distortion pickups, which is Ace's sound. Just that straight through the Marshall and the Echoplex, you know. Says some have the DP 100s and some have the DP 101s, which are the dual sounds that look like the Super Distortions, but most have a combination of all three pickup types, and far fewer actually have the pickup combinations that Gibson advertised. So the majority of them are wrong. So the majority of these guitars are incorrect in the way they were advertised, and you didn't get what you were supposed to get. After this discovery, I emailed both Gibson and DiMarzio, as did a few other owners, to see if we could find out what the real story was. None of us were able to get a definitive answer from either source. Gibson said they did not have records that they could verify or disprove anything. Go Gibson. And DiMarzio, no, not Larry DiMarzio, said to me directly, if you don't want to stir this pot, then why are you? Okay, and he goes on to say, you can take that statement for what it's worth. But it almost begs the question, is there, in fact, a pot I should stir? No, you should smoke it. Okay, at this point, 10 years into the life of this website, this is the website owner is talking and wrote this story. There's no need for me to dig into this topic any further. Lots of owners have read this page and checked their guitars. Their inspection is usually followed up by an email to me which reads something like, I had no idea about this pickup issue until I read your site. My guitar has blah 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 pickups in it. And then he goes on to say I could go into detail about which guitars have which pickups, but I won't. There's no point. However, I will say that there's no rhyme or reason to the pickup discrepancies. Guitars that were built one after the other, for example, Ace number 189 and Ace 190, have completely different pickup combinations. Anyway, don't be surprised to find that your Ace Frehley custom shop may not be loaded with the pickups DiMarzio, or with the pickups that you think it was supposed to have. Do I think either Gibson or DiMarzio deliberately tried to mislead anyone at any time? No, not really. Yeah, right. I honestly think DiMarzio just wasn't initially prepared for the volume of pickups that Gibson required, and they had to scramble to fulfill orders, sending PAFs and the dual sounds in place of the Super Distortions. Okay. Now, DiMarzio's most popular pickup in the world is the Super Distortion. When are they not going to have ass loads of Super Distortions on hand? Just saying. And for Gibson to let him go out with the wrong thing in him is wrong as well. So, fuck DiMarzio, and especially fuck Gibson if you're paying that much money for a guitar. They should deliver the guitars the way they were promised when they are pre-sold like that. It's like whenever they're ready, they're ready. If they're not ready, whatever. But everybody else in the world that gets the cheap guitars gets the real pickups, and then guitars that are actually more to Ace's actual specs, and even the Epiphone people get super distortions. But those of you who are paying $7,000 and $8,000 for this guitar, you're probably not going to get them. Okay? Interesting. But that's Gibson for you. Just always hated this company. It's always something with them. Okay, we're almost at the bottom of this. Okay. The good news is that by the time Gibson USA began building the production model Ace Frehley Les Paul Customs, not Custom Shop, DiMarzio had an adequate supply of the super distortions, and I have yet to come across one with the same discrepancy as these high-end ones. Okay, another section of this contract between Ace and Gibson was that Ace's guitars would be the only 3-pickup Heritage Cherry Sunburst Les Pauls that the Gibson USA facility would produce at any time present and or in the future. Okay, so Ace said, my guitars are going to be the only Cherry Sunburst Les Paul Customs, you know, with the 3 pickups and the chrome or the cream, you know, pickups and stuff that you can ever make from here for the rest of history. Gibson said, okay. Here we go. Gibson's custom shop was permitted and did produce a 3 pickup Heritage Cherry Sunburst Les Paul Custom Classic in 2008 during their Guitar of the Month promotion that year. In some ways, this guitar was more closely resembling Ace's guitar than his Signatures models do, and since then they have produced a lot more against the deal they made with Ace. But yet he came back to do the Budokan thing, so them promising Ace that they wouldn't make any was totally bypassed. They didn't give a shit, kept making more and more things that looked like Ace's guitar but didn't advertise them as an Ace guitar. So Gibson lied to Ace. Okay, so while we're here, let's just get in, find a few things. There's just showing the detailed pictures of everything, the sterling silver, everything I'll show you or have showed you. The inked on serial numbers, blah blah blah. No, coming up is the reason I'm showing you. I'll show you this. My case is the same as this, of course. There's everything else I showed you. Case is the same. Okay, here. Check this out. Here you will see the 3, for anybody who can actually read it on my video here, all PAF 103 pickups like I have in mine, shown here. And here it is with all DiMarzio super distortions. So here, like mine, okay, you have the ones with the flat pole pieces, and then you have the one with the flathead screws. Okay, so the flathead screws are down here by the bridge on this one, by the bridge, okay? So the flathead screws are down this way, towards the bridge. On the other 2, the rows of flathead screws are both facing the neck, okay? So screws facing the neck, middle one, screws facing the neck, and the only one that isn't is your treble pickup. Screws facing the bridge. On my guitar, Gibson again screws up. Or that one was screwed up, one of the 2. But screws facing the neck, just like the picture. Screws facing the bridge in the middle, and screws facing the bridge. And it says DiMarzio printed on each of these pickups. I don't know if you can, if my camera will possibly even get in there so you can read. There it is. DiMarzio, face set. DiMarzio, face set. Where is it? Oh, it's up here. Upside down. So they got the pickups in fucking upside down. That is Gibson. They don't give a shit, never have, never will. They are just a sad, sad ass company. They just really are. Just horrible, horrible guitars. And then here's a wiring diagram that still doesn't tell you which pickups will actually be on. Okay, so just amazing. So nothing here tells you that you're going to get the bridge and the middle pickup on at the same time when you have it in the middle position.
Okay, so that's it from on here. Okay, so just for the rest of this, and then I will do the review, of course, in the morning. Yeah, here's the case. There's the fake ace thing on the case. Here's the Gibson crap. The inside, the red. Like they said, it's not red, it's flipping that dark maroon. Okay, and never leave your nitro covered guitars in the case. They will turn the color of the case. If you have a white Les Paul Custom, don't leave it in a guitar with a red interior case. That nitro never cures, and then your guitar, it turns pink anywhere it touches the case. So it's always leaning against here. That part of the back of your neck will turn pink. It's sitting down here if you store it upright. Bottom of your guitar turns pink. We've seen it over the past 60 years. So don't store your guitars in cases. As you see how I store my guitars up here. Find nitro safe hooks, hang them. You go to the most expensive stores in the world. You have 1959 $500,000 guitars everywhere, hanging on those for decades and decades and decades. That's the best way to do it, because like I said, you leave it in your case, it gets screwed up. There's a reason why the big boys treat them the way they do. Okay, while I'm here, again, sorry, this whole mess, bad idea. Okay, it's just time for a change. Have there been times when Les Pauls have been made great? I've had a few that were really cool. The Les Paul Studio Light M3, where I could have 2 humbuckers or I could have 3 single coils. That was a cool guitar, except for this mess. Having to grab, look at this. That's a lot of damn wood. You have to grab all of this, the whole body, everything, to try to play up here. But the Gibson Les Paul Access, you don't have anything there. It's carved away and nice. This is so outdated and just a pain in the ass that it should have been done with a long time ago, but the cork sniffers won't let that go away. But then again, I really don't give a shit much anymore because I will never play such a damn guitar live. Just don't like them for so many reasons. 2 pneumatic bridge. Look at them little tiny stems those stick up on. No sustain involved there. Plus, of course, the things I've always talked about, the saddles. They're making almost no contact at all there, so no sustain there. They're so sharp, yes, they bust your strings. This is the saddle that gets the most string burrs on it, which are what breaks your strings. And then to actually have that break angle going over it, ridiculous. Again, breaks your strings. And they're resting right against the, this is factory setup. Every string is hitting the back of the 2 pneumatic bridge. Nothing's missing it. They're all hitting the 2 pneumatic bridge and then going over top of those knife edge things. This guitar should cost, in a real world, I don't know, $800-900. You know, it's just all the better of a guitar that it is. You know, you have your ebony finger, whatever, but you can get ebony on any guitar for, you can get all that same stuff on a guitar for $800 and better quality. Okay, but you're like, again, why'd you get it? It's because I still have a fascination with KISS, and I've devoted so much of my life to learning about them that I have gathered all of their signature models, or as many as I can. I'm still looking for all the rest, and yes, I'm still looking for I'm not getting these, like I said, beat to shit Budokan crap and distressed guitars or relict bullshit. I hate that. I just, no. Not gonna happen, children. So yeah, I'm still looking for the Ace Frehley Washburn, the AF40. Goes for more than these do. Goes for more than the Budokans do. Actually about double of what the Budokans are going for, and they're going for $10,000 to $12,000 to $14,000. Yes, the Washburn with the 1 pickup back in the 80s, when Ace Frehley first posed without makeup and was sitting on his stack of Laney amplifiers. No Marshalls. Laney amps and Washburn guitars were his first official run of guitars that people were allowed to buy, you know. Steve Carr made all of his original guitars, as he did for everybody in KISS, but they weren't available to the public. Okay, and those would be his UFO light guitars and the shit that shot the rockets out, and the Paul Stanley star-shaped guitar. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Go look. The original Gene Simmons axe bass. Everybody says Kramer. No, Steve Carr did the first one. It made it in all the pictures. Tons and tons of pictures. Some fake videos, but never used out live anywhere, you know. So, but then the Kramer ones came out. My Kramer guitar that's coming, 6-string, only 25 in the world, will be here sometime soon. And yes, I paid 10 grand for that thing. Why? Just because it's a KISS thing. I still have the fever, even though there's not anything I really like about them other than they got me introduced into music. And like I said, Ace, you poor bastard, he's just like me. I never got any better. I got to a certain point and I just quit caring. I honestly just don't care anymore. I love to teach, but I don't care to learn. I like to learn about things, but as far as learning guitar anymore, I don't even listen to music that has guitar in it. I don't listen to music hardly ever. When I do, it's Bela Fleck and the Fleck tones. You got Victor Wooten in there, but I like Bela Fleck on the banjo. The whole band is just awesome. That's got to be my favorite band to actually listen to. KISS will always just be favorite in my heart just because they got me into music, and I've had a great time. I've had a great career. I've had more fun doing this than anybody's allowed to have with your clothes on, you know. But anyway, so there you go. Just information about these guitars. They are not what you think they are. So spend your money wisely. Second guess this. I'm glad I have this, yes, but I wanted to pass on the information. I don't regret spending the money at all. It's worth spending it for me to read somebody else's column for you. It's 100% dead on, and the only thing new I learned from that was actually the part about Jack Daniel's distillery gets all of Gibson's burnt guitars. Oh, I'm sorry, chipped up guitars, but everything else I knew. And for Gibson to actually only chop up, 5 to 7% of them that don't get through quality control, they should chop up about 80%. That's just where they are. And the other thing that is really, really, really bad, that I think is horrible, of course everybody, wants the coveted, only because of Jimmy Page and a little bit because of Eric Clapton. Had either of them played a PVT-60 back in the day, everybody would have been after those. Otherwise, that Les Paul special, the Les Paul isn't that special from 1959. It's like, what's the big deal? But here's what's sick and wrong, is right now it has become the big thing. They're taking every Les Paul, it don't matter from what year, and they are converting them to 1959 things and charging $50,000 for them. So they'll take a 1952, which is and that's the first Les Paul. Sounds great with the, those are, eBay orders coming in for videos. Love that sound. 52 Les Paul, yeah, sure, the bridge sucked, but all the time they used the P90s. Great sounding axes. Sounded great. They still played like this big honking thing here, and they had a baseball bat, whatever, but they were better guitars than, if you like humbuckers, everybody has a preference. So I just don't, I used to play nothing but humbuckers all the time, but I just grew out of them. But yeah, no, I'm just, I'm a country guy that just loves KISS. So I just love the single coils from my gigs. And then of course with too much gain, every guitar sounds the same, no matter what pickups you have. But then when you get it down to the Marshall era of the 70s, 60s and 70s, when everything was out, there was no real distortion then. Okay, so you had to turn the amp on 10 to get distortion. So,
I'm sorry, I'm flipping earwigs that are crawling across the floor. um, so, yeah, humbuckers were needed to overdrive the amps, you know, the input stage and so forth. And then you needed to turn the amps on 10 to do all that. But the 59 Les Paul, and everybody taking all the old 52s, 53s, 54s, everything but the 59s, they are taking them now and destroying perfectly good guitars that other people would just love to have. And that's the big trend now. They're going to wipe them out quicker than they did, you know, people clubbing seals. Look on eBay and just put in 59 or 1959 Les Paul and put, what do they call it? It's not converting it. But that's what they're doing. They're just making them look exactly like the old, you know, 59s. Well, actually, most cases newer, taking the 52s, almost going to wipe out every 52 in the world. Again, the first year of the Les Paul, and they're going to wipe them out by converting them over. They call them kind of refurbished or something, some stupid shit like that. But it's just gone crazy just recently. And they're all doing it. Instead of just everybody buying the R9s and R8s and stuff, they're taking the actual Les Pauls, stripping them down, cutting them all open, which normally would take their value down to nothing, but they're getting 50 grand out of them once they rehash them for the morons that pay the money. Retarded. And you never know what you're getting anymore. You just can't trust anything anymore. Everything's being faked and screwed, and there are people there at Gibson that'll do that for you too. They'll take an old Gibson of theirs and redo it and not think twice about history. So that sucks. So anyway, I'll be glad to die soon, just so I don't have to deal with all this stupid crap. You know, just I know where it's all heading, and it's not pretty. Guitars will probably be a thing of the past before too long, the way music's going. So it'll all be electronica stuff. All DJ. It's going that way, kids. Okay, anyway, once again, Scott Grove. It's not a review, I know, but I thought you would be interested. Basically, like I said, just me reading that off the website and showing you what is actually true about these guitars, the 300. And that Ace sold off all the ones that were made for him because he has addictions and problems, and so be it. We all have problems, you know, so a lot of you people's problem is me. It's too bad. I'm actually not a bad guy. I just have such strong opinions about things. And everybody's like, yeah, but you're usually wrong. It's like, no, I'm actually not usually wrong. You're always contradicting yourself. It's like, no, you're just not listening correctly. But at least I'm here trying to help. So anyway, I'm me, you're you. If you like, please subscribe. If you're a gamer or a skater, or I don't know why, I just don't like you people, so you guys stay away. People, that's generally, people, I know they're metallurgist or something like that, metal something, like I give a fuck. You know, there's like, yeah, I asked Scott a question about something, and he found out I was a gamer. You know, so we're gonna play Mario Brothers all day, and then he banned me, or blocked me. It's like, yeah, I do that. I see that as a total waste of people's time. It's like, God, if you're over 12, drop the shit. But I watch a lot of hardcore pawn, and I see that there's a lot of the homies and a lot of the other boys that just keep playing games instead of having jobs, and won't look for a job because they're sitting there playing games. It's like, the world is not about playing games, man. Sometimes you just you got to do shit. You got to get out there and do some hard work and do it. Put Super Mario away and you can fuck Zelda later, you know. But yeah, if I look at your stuff and you bitch at me, they're like, he blocked me for no reason. It's like, it's YouTube, man. It's not like I came up and shot you in the fucking head. Yeah, I just don't want to talk to those kind of people, so I have the choice. So, ta-da! So that's my rant and my information. Again, cool looking axe. They actually did a decent job on the finish. They never do a great job. This finish will look 1,000 years old in another 10 years, which will suck. It'll be cracking everywhere, like they all do. But there you go, the Ace Frehley, one of 200 and about 80 that actually made it to the public. People bought them all, but they didn't all get their guitars, and the majority of them got the wrong pickups. So there's Gibson for you later. Okay, see you tomorrow. And when I plug this in, you won't believe how nasty it sounds compared to real guitars. I'll show you the comparison. Okay, bye.